So in the last video, we went through the comp a property module. Now I want to show you guys the best deals on MLS module. So you click on the button and it opens up. Essentially, again, if you didn't watch video one, basically this module is about analyzing all the deals that are on the MLS that are active. We try to pull comps from the subdivision of the subject property and then analyze. We pick the best three comps in that subdivision that are within 10 years in age or 5 years up and down and within 20% in size. Now, because this is a computer doing this analysis, sometimes it's going to pick the wrong comps. For instance, if an agent puts in that a house rented for $30,000 when it really rented for $3,000. We're working on, we call that the fat finger logic, and I don't want to be disparaging. We all make mistakes, but within the next 7 days, we're going to get that figured out and overcome that logic to not use that $30,000 lease comp when we know the other homes leased for $2,900 and $3,100, and the third one should have been $3,000, but it was $30,000. So basically, we go through and we've got 16 hot flip deals, and then you come down here, there's 62 hot rentals. Now, talking about the hot rentals, we're analyzing which properties would rent. We pulled three comps in this subdivision of Woodland West in Arlington, and three of the homes that are within 20% variance in size within 5 years in age, they are renting for $1,800 on average. This property, they're asking 169, so our max offer would be 150. Basically, we would think that that rents for 1.06% of the max price, or excuse me, the list price. So, we're looking for kind of that 1% rule. You always want to buy a house that rents for about 1% of the sales price or the purchase price. That's really what this entails. If you come up to the hot flips, and again, this is updated 3 times a day. It's looking for all the homes that are on the market less than 10 days. So as soon as a house hits the market like this one, we're analyzing it. We've got 3 comps in this subdivision that have sold for about $198,000 on average, and they're asking $130,000. So that's 65% of 130 is 65% of what we think the value could be. Now you can obviously go and look at the comps and verify that, and we want you to do that. Like this one right here, $199,000 list price, $677. Really? Something's going on here, so I would definitely look at this because that just doesn't look right. Here's one that they're asking $90,000, and there's 2 comps. And when we take both of the per square foot and multiply it by the size of this house, it comes up with 134 or 67%. Here's one that's 36%. Again, there was 2 comps, 2 that are in Possum Kingdom Lake. You've got to kind of analyze that, but we're going to fix if an agent messed up and instead of putting in 130,000, they put 1.3 million, or they put 30,000 for a lease price and it should have been 3,000. We're not going to, in a few days, we'll have that fixed, so you guys we won't pull these deals and put them on this list because we don't want to waste your time. So looking at a couple of these, we can look at one of these, go over one property, and we just kind of walk through the numbers. If the house is not active, it's not going to be on this list. So here's a house that is listed for $35,000. We've got 3 comps for $69,000. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, built in 1983, and it's been on the market for 6 days. So what you can do is click on, and this is a lender REO property. So I click on that. So what it does is it starts analyzing this property, the active property. I scroll in. I'm looking to see if it backs up to a highway. Does it back up to railroad tracks? Does it back up to high tension power lines? Does it back up to commercial? Looks like this backs up to some apartment buildings. But they looking at the roof and 3 stories, I would say that that's probably a B to A complex. So I'm not sure that I would take too much off for backing up to an A class apartment. I'm looking at, you can look at the Google to see if there's any, here's 360, it's real close, but it's not too close where I would deduct the valuation or deduct because of a lot attribute. The street view, sometimes Google gets a little crazy and they do the the driveway, so kind of keep that in mind. And then the photos, sometimes on REO properties there's not going to be a lot of photos, but here you can see the listing agent did put some photos. Looks like it's, obviously cosmetically it needs all the cosmetic work. Looking at, I don't see any cracks. Just real quickly I'm panning through this to assess, do I want to drive out there and look at this house? Do I want to make a blind offer? So the next step is we could look at the property details. Here is the agent's information, the listing agent, their email, their phone number if you wanted to call them. This is a half duplex with 3 bedrooms. So right off the bat, I might not be interested in a half duplex. All right. You might just say cancel. I'm going to go back and look at another deal. But let's say you want a rental property or you want to flip this house, flip this duplex. I would look at the next is comparable stats. So this is basically analyzing Spring Ridge subdivision. This house was built in 1983. It's 1,107 square feet. And I come down here and I start looking at the comps in Spring Ridge. And as you can see, it selected these top 3. 1170, 1102, 1102, $68, $64, $56, $51, and it goes down from there. You can look at all of these by clicking on this. You can look at the photos by just clicking on view. So this is a single family. And a single family home compared to a duplex, we need to make sure we're comparing apples to apples. There's one pending, there's one active, which is this subject property, and then there's 4 or 5 that are expired. Basically, I'm looking at the map and kind of getting an idea of here's the apartments, here's the subject property where there's the actives, the expireds, and then you have the sold comps here. So let's say that we concur and we say, well, maybe it's worth $60,000. That's when we want you to underwrite the deal. So click on the tab right here. And this is where you can kind of start analyzing and plugging in the numbers. You can overwrite and put 25,000. You could put the projected valuation as, let's say, 60,000. Then you could put the rehab. It automatically, if I click on this, it opens up the rehab, and I can start itemizing the rehab. Or I could just put other, and I put 10,000. And down at the bottom, it should give me what it's going to cost me per square foot when I add 10,000, carpet, you've got paint, interior, yard maintenance, and then I have fridge, dishwasher, microwave, and stove. I have those three or 4 items as a default, and I click on save. Now it puts in $15,000 or $13.98 a square foot, and then the expenses. Here's the profit. You've got return on your return on investment, but click on your expenses. So what is the annual tax rate? Maybe it's 2.90 instead of 2.80. What is the insurance going to run you? We default to 0.80. The one-time closing cost of $1,200. You can change that. What do you think it's going to cost you for utilities? That's the electricity, the water, maintenance of the yard, HOA. Maybe that 250 is low, so put in 500. Or you could just change this. Let's just kind of click on this and change it to 500. Then what's the commissions? You're going to hire an agent to put this house on the market. And then how long do you think you're going to hold this property? So when you start plugging in these, you can change this to 2.9 instead of 2.8. You can change this to 1% if you think the insurance is going to run you. But you click on save and it automatically adjusts what kind of return on investment or profit in return. Maybe you want to make more profit, so you have to lower your sales price to $22,000, and now you're making $12,695, a 27% return. And I put this. So again, it gives you this real quick analysis where you have your comps, you have the pictures, you have where you can put in the rehab, and you can save this. And now, when you come back to it, all of this is saved. Eventually, you want to, at the end of the day, you want to write an offer. And so we've made it easy for you to, or easier for you to write an offer by clicking on this button. Here is where you can fill in all of the fields that create the contract. I can put in the address, the city, this is my information, and I could change the name to, let's say it's Ryan Z and Associates is my buying entity. And it has the block already filled in. I put the cash portion, I put the financing portion. Is there going to be any financing? No. Seller financing? No. I'm going to put $1,000. No, I don't want to do that. I want to put $500. Who's the title company? Put in, Republic or whoever your title company is. Who's going to pay for the title policy? Again, put in Republic or put in your title company. So you fill in all of this information. It automatically defaults to 2 weeks from today. And then you can come down here and you can click on, hey, there's going to be, if it's in a homeowners association, or you're going to need a short sale addendum. So you can click on this and it will generate a contract for you. So it has the listing broker information, the listing office information. You can save this so you don't have to, and then you just view it. Let me show you what that looks like. So it creates a promulgated contract and it fills it in for you. So here is your contract, guys, $22,000. There's your initials or my initials. It's got the earnest money, who's paying, the seller's going to pay the title policy, and you can put in all of your special provisions. When are we going to close? Buyer has or has not received the seller's disclosure. But we wanted to make it easy for you to write up an offer, generate an offer right on this system. So guys, it's just a real quick overview of the best of MLS module on the Property Analyzer Pro system. I hope you guys have enjoyed these few quick overview lessons. If you have any other questions, call our staff. We'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you have, and more importantly, get you signed up so you can get access to this information in this database. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you on the next video.